As an entrepreneur, do you ever find that there are certain activities in your business or certain people in your business where the thought alone, ooh, just leads you to shut down? It's like exhausting. You get drained as soon as you think about it. Well, if that's the case for you, then I think you're going to really enjoy this video because we're going to take a look at what I consider to be one of the greatest risks of ruin facing entrepreneurs. And this is something that, if left unaddressed, makes it almost inevitable that you will burn out. However, if you take this into consideration, then you can find a lot more satisfaction, a lot more sustainability, and ultimately a lot more success in your work. Now, what I'm describing is a phenomenon of resentment. And as an entrepreneur, given all of the freedom that you have regarding how you organize your business, you also have this tremendous responsibility to minimize the incidence of resentment. Now, let's consider maybe you're doing a whole bunch of sales calls and you find that you grow resentful of giving away all this time for free to people who are not a good fit for the work that you do. Or maybe you put all this time and energy and effort into creating content for social media and it doesn't get the kind of engagement that you hope for. And so you resent your audience. You think, I was casting pearls before swine. They don't appreciate my brilliance. Or maybe you have these clients who are all too eager to take you up on the offer of, hey, I'm always here. I'm in your corner. Anything you need, whenever you need it, I'm here for you. And they're sending you messages at, 10:30 at night, and they expect an immediate response, and they get on your case. And in all of these cases, there is likely a problem that you knew about earlier. I'm willing to bet there was a seed that something was out of alignment and you ignored it, or you said, it's not that big a deal. You minimized it at the start. And now perhaps you find yourself gritting your teeth, forcing yourself to go through with this thing. And that's a recipe for exhaustion. What often happens when we start to feel resentful is that we end up feeling guilty about the resentment itself, and we collapse as psychological subjects. We start to implode in ourselves, and we shut down what really underneath it is this flare, this building up of anger within ourselves. I mean, in your heart of hearts, I'm willing to bet that if you've had a dozen sales calls back to back with, let's say, tire kickers wasting your time. This is the language people often use, right? They're just shopping around, they're wasting my time, they're doing all of this. And okay, yeah. So what do you feel towards someone who's wasting your time? Well, anger, right? Anger lets you know that something you value has been compromised. And I'm willing to bet you value your time. You value your quality of life. You value your peace of mind. You value your stress being at a minimal level. You value getting paid well for the work that you put all this time and energy and effort into, right? So resentment lets you know that there is a misalignment between uh, something going on in the world around you and what you value. As such, it's a clue. Resentment contains information that can help you rectify the situation to bring it more in accordance with what you desire. Now, this takes work, and it's work that you likely are not well equipped to do if you just crush yourself under a burden of guilt and you say, I shouldn't be resentful. I should do better. I ought to be a better person, on and on. The shoulds and the ought tos and all the compulsions that we subject ourselves to. No, let yourself have your resentment. Don't take it out on the other person, right? It's not their fault. It's your responsibility. But if you can connect with the energy in resentment, you can start to put in the work to minimize the recurrence of this resentment. So if you're tired of tire kickers wasting your time on these discovery sessions or breakthrough calls or whatever people are calling them at this point, perhaps you would be better served learning how to sell a paid diagnostic so that you're not giving away your time for free and you don't have to do the whole song and dance of digging for pain points and discovering how great their credit card limit is and really leaning into the objection handling. Instead, they pay you as an expert to help them solve a problem, and you help them solve the problem. And then you simply offer continued support in the implementation of that solution. That's a great way around the resentment of sales calls. If you could actually get paid for a diagnostic session, all of a sudden that resentment could go away. Or if you find that you're spending all this time creating content and it's not getting the kind of response or engagement that you would like, um, maybe, well, a couple of things come to mind. Maybe you need to get better at creating content that people actually are willing to engage with. That's a possibility. Maybe we need to check out if you're looking for validation somehow from your audience rather than actually providing a service for them. But one of the things that I rather than get caught up in so many different examples, one of the things I really hope to communicate is that you can minimize resentment tremendously, and as a result, increase your satisfaction, sustainability, and success if you organize your business in accordance with your unique disposition, which is to say, your business plan ought to, in some ways, be an extension of your personality structure. Like, if the business plan has you doing all sorts of things that are counter to what you would normally be doing, then you have to wonder, are you wedging yourself into a box that sounds good in theory, but in practice is actually at odds with, where you find a natural intrinsic motivation? For example, I know one of the things I'm going to do, regardless of whether you watch this video or not, is I'm going to read psychological texts and texts on embodiment, entrepreneurship, all these different things. I'm going to read stuff that interests me. And I'm going to think about that stuff. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to thoughtfully stroke my chin while I drink some coffee. And speaking of, these are things that I'm going to do anyway, whether or not you watch this. So it really isn't all that much of a burden on me to then go and make a bit of content, sharing some of the ideas that I've been thinking about anyway. I'm going to spend a lot of time writing things down to develop my own mastery over the concepts. And so if I write something down and then just send the thing out on social media or write the thing down and record a video based on the outline, like I'm doing this stuff anyway. And so if people don't engage quite as much, I don't care. I'm engaged in a practice of developing mastery. So if people don't engage, that's not the biggest deal. Or if people don't buy and sign up to work with me, it's not the biggest deal. These are things I'd be doing anyway. Mostly what I'm trying to do is get paid to do the stuff that I would spend my time doing anyway, which means resentment goes way down. It's way less likely to occur if we are aware of what we as business owners value. So, for example, years ago, boy, this must have been like a decade ago, I taught a morning series for kettlebell strength training and mobility work. It was in person. I had a studio in Cincinnati at the time, and it required that I get up at 5:30 or something. And I hate that. That is so at odds with the kind of life I want to live. So by the end of this thing, it's like the work was enjoyable, people were getting results, but I was just like, I resent everybody in this room right now because I would rather be sleeping. Now, that's not their fault. That's my responsibility because as business owners, we get to create, frankly, whatever we want. I mean, okay, not whatever we want. A business is there to help other people get what they want. But we have so much freedom in the way that we organize our businesses. And if we find based on our emotional awareness that something is out of alignment between how we're running our business and what we'd like for ourselves, it's on us to make the change there. So this is another really important incentive for you to develop awareness of your internal emotional experience, to get a sense, frankly, of how you feel with respect to each of your clients, how you feel with respect to these offers, how you feel with respect to your business model as a whole. Now, you may find there's actually a lot of work to be done regarding technically we'd call it the countertransference. Like maybe particular clients, they just activate something in you that you'd really do well to get that taken care of. That could be the case. Maybe, however, there are just clients who are not a good fit for you right now. That could be true as well. And if you're enrolling clients who are not a good fit for you right now, we have to wonder, where is there a value conflict in your life? Are you, for example, so desperate to make a sale that you're just going to take on anybody? And then, ooh, you resent those people when they are who they are, but maybe who they are is at odds with who you want to be working with. Well, it's not their fault. That's your responsibility. By attempting to use other people to solve your problems, you will inevitably create more problems. So, all of this to say, I do hope you'll begin, if you haven't already, to pay more attention to your lived experience as the business owner, to notice your emotional compass, because our emotions tell us what matters, in what way it matters, and to what degree it matters. And as I've mentioned, anger, which let's just put resentment under the broad umbrella of anger. We don't need to be squeamish about the word. Anger is fine. It's part of our evolutionary inheritance. It's part of mammalian existence. So we don't need to be squeamish about anger, but anger lets us know that something we value is being threatened, compromised in some way. So it's then up to you to figure out, what is the thing that I value that my emotions are letting me know is jeopardized by something that's going on in the world around me? And as the business owner, given that you have in large part created this world around you, it's your responsibility to then go and recreate that world more in accordance with the actual values you're attempting to fulfill. Because don't get it twisted, you did not start your business just to have a job. There are values in your life that you're attempting to fulfill as a business owner. And if the manner in which you are running your business is in opposition to the fulfillment of things that genuinely matter to you, it is only a matter of time before you burn out. And resentment, when left unaddressed, begins to fester. It eats away at us. It really rots the foundation. So I'll encourage you to keep an eye out for this. And when you notice resentment, you needn't feel badly about this. This is a part of being a human. You're allowed to feel these things. How you express the experience of resentment, that's the distinction. If you, for example, lash out at the client, they're going to wonder, what the hell? He said I could email them at any hour of the day. I just had a question. I was doing the thing they said I could do. That's not so good. Or if we shake our fists and curse God for bringing all these tire kickers onto our sales calls, well, that's not so useful either. We could take all of that energy in the way that we express that emotion, and we could channel it toward the constructive fulfillment of our values. So if you value your time and your, I don't know, call it intellectual dignity, then don't give all of that away for free. Charge for a paid diagnostic. Don't go through the whole sales call rigmarole. Like, there are ways to do that. If you find that you're growing resentful of creating content for people, maybe don't create content Maybe examine your attitude with respect to what you are actually creating the content for. Maybe get better at making content. Like, again, there's so many strategies there, but you have tremendous freedom as a business owner, probably more freedom than you realize. And it's important, if you want to retain that freedom, that you take the responsibility required by that freedom. Your emotions, your emotional experience, this resentment in particular, this can help guide the way, showing you where maybe you have abdicated responsibility and let the norms of business as usual, or the norms of culture, or the norms of, I don't know, your inherited ideas from your parents about what a good person does or doesn't do in business. If you've let all of these norms organize your business for you rather than intentionally aligning your business with your unique disposition and your personal preferences, that's on you. I hope that's not too direct. I hope it's just enough direct. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this, go ahead, like the thing, drop a comment below. If you're curious about what it looks like to actually apply these ideas in more depth, uh, you can read down below in the description of this video about what it looks like to work together. I've got a really reliable framework for helping entrepreneurs bring the magic back to their work and burnout proof their businesses. I'll drop that in the link down below. Anyway, for now, I appreciate your time, your attention, and I will look forward to speaking with you again soon.